At Virginia Produce, we specialize in helping farmers get their produce on the shelves of your local grocery store. When I call Skyline, I know who I'm talking to, and that makes a difference to me, especially with something as important as our finances.
Hey, Chamber members, it's Alan Waters, your Director of Marketing and Communications here at the Chamber of Commerce and your Words of Wisdom podcast. And today I'm joined by two guests. So we'll start with you, Jenna. Introduce yourself, and then we'll move on over.
I am Jenna Phillips. I'm the branch manager at Skyline National Bank.
And I'm Jonathan Kruckow. I'm the Virginia State President of Skyline National Bank.
Welcome to the podcast. Welcome here. Thank you for both for being here. So I know since there's two of you, this is going to have to be answered in parts. But the first question I ask absolutely everybody is, what does success mean to you? If either of you feel particularly called to answer first, go for it. Otherwise, I'll just start pointing. Great. Sure. Jonathan.
So success to me, I think a lot of what we do, our careers define ourselves. And so for me, success looks like customers who are happy that they chose Skyline National Bank, that I work for an organization that cares about the community and gives back and invests in me and believes in my future. So I think we're doing those things, and we have a good footprint of customers. We've got the organization headed in the right direction, and personally, I'm really fulfilled at work.
Anything from you, Jenna?
Yeah, I would say success to me is walking into a place, at least 5 days a week and being happy there, and walking in and being with people who are also happy. So like Jonathan said, working for a place that takes care of the people, because really and truly your customers aren't going to be taken care of unless the people themselves are taken care of. And so having the opportunity to be a part of that is really important to me. And then like as a result, I just think customer service comes with that, and then you have people who are proud to bank with Skyline. And so I
like that a lot, because my dad and I disagree on the point that there's so many pieces in a business, but ultimately you break it down to, you've got your customers, you've got your employees, and you've got your business. And he's always been, make sure your employees are taken care of, make sure your customers are taken care of. Customers are number one, business is number two, employees are three. I've always been employees are number one, because if your employees are taken care of, they'll take care of your customers. The customers will take care of business. So working at Skyline and doing some of those pieces, what are ways that Skyline helps take care of you as the employees that react to that and give you that power to be able to take care of the customers?
Yeah, so I would say that they're really understanding. If you have something going on in your life where for whatever reason maybe you need to take some extra time off, that's really important. We had an employee not too terribly long ago that had her father-in-law ended up passing away, but she had to be in Charlotte for weeks at a time, and we worked around it and just did what we had to do to make sure that she was able to spend that time with her family and be there, and didn't pressure her to come back at all. And no one within upper management, Jonathan wasn't calling me and saying, hey, where's this employee? Why are they not here? And just, I think that was really nice to see that, so she was able to be there and not have to worry about work. And so that's just one small example of taking care of people. And then even after that, we were able to help out with, we have a kindness fund where folks are able to give part of their paycheck to contribute to that. It can be $1, but a dollar can go a long way for every single paycheck.
Mm-hmm.
And we were also able to help that employee out with some of the funeral expenses and those types of things, which they didn't ask for, which was super nice.
And that's a huge thing. I mean, I know when my brother passed, I didn't realize how expensive it is. Unfortunately, how expensive it is to die. And so that's really, really great to just hear and see you have that. So Jonathan, from your point and where you're at, because obviously upper management's a little bit different than the branch manager, how does that translate for where you are, and how do you like to make sure that you're kind of translating that back down underneath?
Yeah, and so I would say, Skyline, we're a little bit different where I hope the way I feel at work is the same way Jenna feels at work, and it's the same way the teller feels at work, and all 230 people who work for us feel. But I would say, from a decision making standpoint, we like employees to feel empowered. It makes you feel good when you can go talk to customers and you don't say, well, let me check on that and I'll get back to you, or hey, we're going to take all your information and send it to a tower in Atlanta, and somebody there is going to decide whether you can get this loan. Being able to sit across from folks and tell them yes or no about their loan decision, or be able to give them a rate on a CD or clear an overdraft. And we try to empower all of our employees to have those decision making, so that when customers come in, they know that they're talking to the decision maker. And because we see these folks at the grocery store, we see these folks at the sporting events. We want to be proud of where we work and the decisions we make. And so the closer we can make that decision making to the customer, the better decisions we end up making.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I mean, you can generally tell if you're treating your employees right, your customers notice. If every employee that come in is dragging and has a bad attitude, the customers can feel that, and they don't really like doing business there. But if you talk to our folks, a lot of them will say this is their favorite place they've ever worked, and the customers will come tell you, hey, I met Robert the other day, and man, he seems a lot happier than he was previously. Or the tellers that you've hired there in Blacksburg, the new branch, really. Whenever I come in, it feels like they're really, I'm happy I'm there. And so we try to keep everybody happy, to your point, so that customers can see how it is to do business here and how much employees like it.
Yeah. So on the personal side, and so I'm going to focus on each of you a little bit separately. What led to where you are now? Like when you graduated high school, was it, I want to be the vice president of a bank, or what led you to where you are now, Jonathan?
So personally, I was a finance major at Tech, and I thought I was going to go to Wall Street and be a stockbroker and drive Ferraris and date supermodels. And apparently that wasn't an option. And so I was lucky enough to get in a management program with a large regional bank, which was a great opportunity to learn, being new to the industry. They placed me back in Blacksburg upon graduating. So I spent 6 years with a large regional bank, and then had the opportunity to join what's now Skyline National Bank, which was a $300 million bank with 9 branches, and was coming out of the Great Recession, so not doing great, and had the opportunity to make a difference. And nobody around here knew who they were, and so started out of the front of a little house and had a desk and a couch and a TV and a cell phone, and kind of started calling on folks. And quickly people could see that we were a community bank that cared about customers and cared about our employees and cared about the community. And that level of service caught on, and we were able to accelerate pretty quickly after that. But and then actually today is my 12-year anniversary at Skyline. So I've been lucky enough to have good mentors and good customers and good employees to support me along the way.
Cool. Like doing an anniversary episode. That's nice.
Yeah.
And so Jenna, the same thing for you, and knowing that obviously a lot of members that are listening are very familiar with Jenna. So what kind of led to Skyline? What was that transition like? And really what's been like that journey through the community?
Yeah, so when I graduated college, I really didn't know what I wanted to do. I worked in the tourism industry for a while, and I enjoyed it, but just kind of decided it wasn't really what I wanted to do. I'm really passionate about this community. I love living here, and it's really important for me to be able to give back in some sort of way. And so I applied for a job at the chamber. I was with the chamber for about 4 years. I felt really blessed to have had that opportunity. I worked with some really amazing people, Sharon Scott being one of them, and I really attribute a lot of what I've learned just in general in my adulthood from her, just because she's wonderful. But yeah, so I met with Skyline National Bank about Invest for Success, and I know we built the new branch in Christiansburg. They were really looking to expand and become more present in the community. A lot of folks didn't know that we actually had a physical location, and so anyways, I had that conversation regarding Invest for Success, and they decided to do it. I met with Jonathan and a couple of other folks, and so we were at their business after hours, And they came up to me and they said they need to talk to me about something. And honestly, I was thinking, heck yeah, they're happy and they're going to buy more stuff. I'm like, I did my job. But actually, they were asking me if I would be interested in becoming the branch manager in Christiansburg. And honestly, I kind of laughed a little bit because I was like, I genuinely know nothing about banking. And they were like, that's okay. We really enjoyed our conversation with you. We think you'd be a good fit. We need somebody who has been in the community and knows folks in the community because we're really looking to expand. We can teach you the banking portion of everything. And so I thought it over, had a couple of additional meetings with folks, and it was just a really good opportunity. And I really wouldn't have taken it if I didn't think it was a good opportunity because I actually really loved my job at the chamber. So it was a hard decision to leave. With that said, I'm really happy I did just because I love working at Skyline. And I don't think it would have been a successful journey for me unless I had people who were willing to teach me.
Mm-hmm.
And, I stepped into kind of a weird situation where I'm like, okay, I'm supposed to be a manager of people, but I don't know anything about what we're supposed to do here.
Yeah.
And so having folks that were really accepting of that and willing to just break it down and teach me, how to do teller work, how to open up accounts, eventually how to do some loans and, to be able to do that. And like I said, have folks that are willing to really work with me and recognize that I kind of walked in with an empty brain regarding banking was really important. And so I think that that's also another way to say Skyline is willing to think outside of the box and again willing to take care of people. So
and part that Jenna may not know is that investor success meeting was her kind of first interview as far as we were concerned. She may not know, but as soon as she left, I sent her mom an email who works for us and said, hey, met with your daughter. She's super impressive. She does a great job. Really enjoyed meeting with her. And when you kind of look back at some of that, Jenna didn't have a book of business and she didn't have this big client following of bank customers or anything like that. But we're very culture oriented and values oriented. And so we have kind of numeric advice, kind of thing that we use with Skyline where Jenna was smart, kind, young at heart, local, inspired, non-conforming, and energetic, which is our Skyline values. And we saw all of those in her. And so we can teach her the rest. If you've got those 7 core values, we can teach her the rest. And she's the epitome of that.
That's awesome to hear. I hope no one's listening right now and learning for the first time that you're no longer at the chamber, but I wouldn't be surprised. The amount of calls we still get for Jenna and Leo, and I'm like, yep, nope, not here, not going on. So you talk about the community a lot, and obviously it's Skyline Community Bank. I want to look at that piece. How does a bank influence and get integrated with a community in a way other than just there for the financial piece of it? How does that work? How does that look? And what are some things that y'all take on that people can look for you there at and talk to you about?
Yeah, I'll do a couple of them, but then you can talk about the local things. So one of those is what I would call the small loan product. So a lot of places that you'll go, they've got a minimum loan size. And we don't do that. Somebody may come in and want to borrow $300 or want to borrow $700. And at 99% of banks out there, they say, hey, if you're not going to borrow $5,000, we don't want to talk to you. And for us in the communities that we've operated in, that may be the difference between, a kid having presents under the tree at Christmas or making that the next month of rent because something happened at home. And I get it, and we're there to help them out and don't mind doing it. That we don't make money off of those, obviously, but it's an important part of what we do. And so doing some things like that big banks wouldn't do. The other side is we want our employees to be engaged in those things. That's part of kind of when we build what we want them to do for the year. Being active in their communities is a big part of their incentive plan. It's part of their goals for the year to lead a group and volunteer. And that's the most fun that most people have on the job is when they get out of the office and get to do some of those, and it makes them feel proud of where they work. But And specifically, we donate a tremendous amount of money into the local communities, and then time and leadership positions on board seats and things like that. But Jenna can talk about some of the local things that they've done and volunteered at and the impact they've made.
Yeah, we try our best to volunteer as much as possible, and I love the fact that we have the ability to do that. As long as we have the staffing, we have the ability to be out in the community volunteering. So we did recently. We worked the hot dog sale for Special Olympics. We really enjoyed doing that. It was a lot of fun, and we were able to contribute a small donation on top of that. Tessa Wright is a dean of the leadership program here with the chamber. I don't know if a lot of folks know the amount of time that gets put into that, but it's a lot, and she does a really great job with it. And Skyline fully supports allowing her to be a dean and to do that. And so that's just one other small thing that they allow us to do, because in the grand scheme of things, they really allow us to be out in the community. I'm on the Montgomery Museum board, so anytime I need to be at a meeting for that or volunteer for something with the museum, I'm able to do that. Again, as long as we have adequate staffing, we're able to do that.
Habitat for Humanity on a Saturday morning, you guys went and did?
The what?
The Habitat for Humanity on Saturday
Habitat
morning,
for
you guys
Humanity.
went and did.
We did they were building some townhomes in Floyd, so we went out and were able to do that. We've done some trunk or treats where we gave out candy, and we're just with Habitat for Humanity and just able to be, again, in the community. I also think it's really important to, if everyone wants to, I always extend the option for the entire team to volunteer. If they don't want to, it's okay. They don't have to. But our tellers and our CSRs, or the folks who open the accounts, they really want to be in the community. They really like getting out, and it changes the day up. And so allowing those folks to be out as well. I know that a lot of times it seems like only the managers get to leave and go to events or volunteer. And so I really think it's important to allow the entire team to do that, because, again, it's fulfilling to be able to volunteer and to be out in the community. So
it doesn't hurt when you can go somewhere and you see the person that is running your bank. I mean, being able to have that direct connection. I mean, I've got a bank with Chase. I don't know that I'm ever going to see someone from Chase out here in the community doing things. So that's really cool to see.
Yeah, one of your events was one of the best ones of those. When we had the opportunity to sleep in heavenly peace and build the beds, we had everybody over at that office wanted to be over here and doing that. And I mean, it made everybody feel pretty grateful to think, man, there are kids out there that don't have beds. We need to step up and be a part of this. And not only from a Skyline standpoint, but from an employee standpoint, we all pitched them money to buy some extra beds and put in the time over here building them. And that was one of the best feel-good moments of the team, which was a chamber event.
Awesome. We're going to take a quick break, and when we get back, I'm going to break down with you a little bit more what exactly banks are, what do these titles mean, what do you do? Because I feel like I'm not the only one that occasionally I see a bank title, and I'm like, that's a lot of words. I don't know what that means. So I'll take a quick break.
Life can be unpredictable.
Twins.
It's rarely ones and zeros. It doesn't always fit perfectly into boxes, but then again, neither do home loans.
You should call Skyline.
At Skyline National Bank, we get that. That's why you'll always get our best when it comes to buying a home. Because it's not just what's in front of us that matters, but who's in front of us. Skyline National Bank, always our best.
All right, let's dive back in. So tell me a little bit, Jonathan, about your title and what that means for what you're doing. And I just feel like there's so much about when people think of a bank. I feel like there's that mindset of, oh, they're there counting the pennies. And I know that's not the truth of it, but I couldn't tell you what you do at all. So, tell me about that.
Well, my daughters think that I hand out lollipops to the kids and dog treats in the drive-thru. So, not much different. But in general, you can think about a bank in two ways. One, most people think about it with when they swipe their debit card, they want that money to come out of their account and buy what they're doing. And when they want to buy a car or a house, that they come to a bank and do those things. However, we do a lot more than just that. So the easy way to think about it is there's a retail side, which consumers use, and then there's a commercial side, which business owners use. And so while Jenna oversees our retail operations here in Christiansburg, I oversee our commercial lending team for the bank. And so primarily my job is I work with local business owners, whether it's developing the next apartment building or buying a rental house that they want to have, or flip a house, or the vet clinic who wants to build a new location and expand, buy new equipment, the attorney's office that needs cash management services and wire services on how they're getting money in and out. And then I've got the privilege of overseeing 10 lenders throughout the footprint of Virginia that also do that. So work with them on being able to be successful and help customers throughout the entire footprint. We go from Roanoke to Abington to Boone is essentially our footprint. And so I oversee the Virginia lending operations for the commercial side.
All right. And so Jenna, as a branch manager, I mean, growing up, I couldn't have told you the difference between a branch manager and any other employee. So how does that impact, and what really does that mean? Is it a lot of jumping in where you're needed? Is it a lot more focusing on the employee side of things? Where does that balance come from?
I mean, kind of both. I always do my best to jump in when needed. I'm really an advocate for not leaving people high and dry or having them drowning out there while I'm sitting in my office. Not that I wouldn't be doing anything, but if someone needs help, then I'm always happy to do that. But really, kind of looking over the day-to-day operations. So there's a lot of behind-the-scene things that we have to do, and right now we see so much fraud. So just kind of really making sure that we're keeping up with what's going on, and making sure that the team is aware of all the different scams that are out there. That's something that we're really focused on right now. Like I said, just even like little things like the schedule, Allison Weeks is the assistant branch manager, and she does a lot of that work. But I mean, there's reports that we have to do on a monthly basis to make sure that we're staying in. There's lots of compliance and regulations in banking, so making sure that we're doing the things that we're supposed to do, and making sure that everyone's just operating the way that they're kind of supposed to. So like I said, I'll jump in and I'll be on the teller line if I need to. I'll open accounts if I need to. And then, if someone comes in and they need that small loan like Jonathan was talking about, I can also do that too. So it just kind of depends on the day.
Right, yeah.
Which is kind of fun just because it's never really the same.
You mentioned the frauds and the scams. It kind of leads into my next question, but I want to know, what kind of control do you have over things? Because I feel like people a lot of the times, they think, oh, I've fallen for this, I can just get my money right back because the bank's got it, right? What kind of things can you do to help prevent that with people? But also, what should people be on the lookout for to make sure they're not getting taken advantage of, they're not giving out those details, at least from y'all's perspective?
The biggest rule of thumb is if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. And there are most of the classic pieces that they're going to send you some money, but you need to send them some gift cards, or if you'll send me this much, I'll send you some back. And if you think, does that really make sense? If most people just stop for a second and think, man, does this really make sense? Is it too good to be true? It typically is. I will say the scammers are getting better and better with regard to what we would call phishing emails that looks like it's from us, or the calls or the texts. And so we're never gonna email you and ask for your personal information, or text you and ask for your personal information. And the good news about working with a local bank like us, if somebody's gonna call you, you're probably gonna know who they are. If you're working with Skyline National Bank, it's gonna be Jenna or Jesse or Allison or Brittany. It's gonna be somebody that that you see on a day-to-day basis usually, or when you come to the bank. We've got good relationships with customers. When you walk in, the teller or somebody in the branch there was typically, oh, hey, Alan, how's it going? How'd your nephew do in the baseball game last week? I mean, we know our customers there, and so if you're going to get a call, it's probably from somebody you know. But typically, if it's too good to be true, is the best rule of thumb.
Yeah, I would definitely echo everything that Jonathan just said, and with knowing the customers, again, that's why we really try to stay on top of all of the scams that are out there, just because there's so many. not too terribly long ago, we had a customer come in and wanted to wire funds, and it was unusual. It's not something they would typically do. And because of the fact that we're local, we know our customers. One of the tellers really questioned the customer in a polite manner, and it's like, why are you sending these funds? And it was going to drain the person. It was thousands of dollars, and luckily the lady's daughters were on the account, and we were able to reach out to them and also kind of get them involved, and so that we could help convince this lady that she was being scammed. But they stopped it, and that was what was really important. And had our tellers not known this person the way that they did, because we really tried to make sure we're building a relationship with all of our customers, they probably just would have done what the person asked and moved on, and that money would have been in another country and never, they probably would have never gotten it back.
Yeah, and once the money's gone, you don't have really any control to get it back, right?
Yeah, it's typically moved around to several different banks by the time we get involved, and most of the time in foreign countries, unfortunately.
Yeah. So my next question, kind of in that same vein, is what are some things that people, those preconceived notions that they have that you'd like to dispel? Are there any things that you'd like people to just know, like, hey, this isn't the case? I feel like one that I'm used to dealing with where I'm from is the banks are open on Saturdays, but they close noon on Thursdays, and people are always just up in arms about it. And I'm like, I don't have any control over it, but is there anything like that y'all deal with on a regular basis that you just want people to know, hey, this isn't really what we have control over. This isn't something we do, or I'm not just sitting in here swimming in gold coins like Scrooge McDuck.
I would, Jenna may have a more in-depth answer. I would just say they're not all the same. Don't put all banks or all financial institutions in the same bucket. I think historically you would think of bankers as these rigid organizations that have these set of rules and these regulatory requirements, and there's a guy up in a silver tower somewhere that's demanding this is how things go, and they're very rigid in rule following. And banks are all very different. That we pride ourselves on finding kind of custom solutions and thinking outside the box and creating products that work for customers, and we're nimble to do that. So just they're not all the same, and would be and it matters to be local. It really does, not to take anything away from the large banks, but dealing with local banks matter to the employees, and they matter to the communities, and you've got a lot of choices on where to keep your money and where to borrow money, and doing it locally, it makes a difference.
Being local, is it partially because you're not stuck to the same standard, isn't the right word, but like with a larger bank that might have certain quota to meet or some of those things, you're not.
We have shareholders that we have to meet just like the rest. However, we get to know our customers, and again, I think it's that local decision making to where if you are in Chicago, making a decision about something in the New River Valley is a difficult thing to do. If you're from the New River Valley and you've lived here and you do business here and you know folks here, you can make better decisions that way. And so while other places may just say no because they don't understand, we'll take some time to understand it better and craft a solution that's a kind of a win for the bank and a win for the customer.
Any things you want to dispel, Jenna?
I mean, we definitely have customers call all the time and ask, again, like kind of going back to fraud, like debit card fraud. And there's skimmers on machines, and I have no control over that. The bank does not cause that. Someone's put a skimmer in a gas station and they get fraud on their debit card, and we have they can submit it as a fraud case, and they do get those funds back. But people really think that we have some type of control over that, and the only thing I can help you do at that point is get your funds back and close out that card, make sure that you're not, losing anything additionally, and print you a new one. I can do those things, but I have no control over why you had that happen in the first place. So a lot of folks, will call and they'll be frustrated, and as they should be, because it is a frustrating situation. And I guess it's just because they're talking to me or someone else that works there, and you want to just say, why do you do this, or why is this a problem? And I'm like, well, people aren't the best sometimes,
Yeah.
And the thing to dispel on that is that money's not coming from Visa or MasterCard when we refund it. It's coming from us.
Yeah.
And so we're standing behind our customers. So yeah, we had nothing to do with this. However, it was unfortunate for you, and we're going to give that money back to you. That's not Visa, MasterCard, or somebody in Russia or China that we're getting that money back from. That's coming right from us.
Yeah.
And which I think a lot of people think, oh, well, that's coming. The bank's not paying that. If you've got some fraud like that, that's coming right out of our pockets, and we stand behind our customers to help that.
That's awesome. All right. So any other things that you'd like people to know specifically about Skyline, any of the locations they can drive into, all of those things, just so people know where to find Skyline and where to find information?
Yeah, I think as we grow, the best spot to check it out is our website, skylinenationalbank.com. And we'll outline all 27 branches for you there. We've got a great mobile app. If you don't ever want to go to a branch and you want to, when grandma sends you the $100 check for Christmas, you can take a picture of it with your phone, and it'll be in your account. So great online banking products, great mobile banking products. And then when you do need something, a great team to help you.
Awesome. Any parting wisdom for someone that is contemplating a career in banking, and particularly a career at Skyline National Bank?
Yeah, I mean, I would just say come in with a mindset to learn, because especially if they're willing to come to Skyline National Bank or looking to come and work with us, we have a team of people who are really willing to teach you anything you want to learn if you'll put in the effort. And that's not true for all places. Just in general, it doesn't matter whether it's a bank or not. It's just that's not always the case. So, like I said, just ask lots of questions. And there's the other great thing within banking is there's so many different paths you can take. You're right. Like, a lot of folks think that if you work in a bank, you're sitting there handing out lollipops or dog treats or, counting pennies or whatever it might be. But there's just so many different career opportunities that I had no idea that were even available. And so if you get into banking and you're like, I really don't like being a teller, but lending sounds pretty fun. If you just come in with a good attitude and you're willing to learn, the likelihood is that that's a huge possibility for you. And so, like I said, just keep an open mind and ask as many questions as possible.
And I would just say that it's a great career path in the banking world. You do important work. You can see the what I would call the fruits of your labor as we drive around, and you can say, oh, I helped that person build that apartment complex, or I helped that person start that business, and they're successful now. Or you do important work. What you're coming to do every day impacts generations of families, and or on the other side, people come to banks to make the largest financial purchase of their entire careers and 30-year mortgages, and they're looking to you for advice, and you can really help them and change the trajectory of their lives and their livelihoods and their financial position. So you do important work, and it's a great long-term career and a great work-life balance.
Well, if you're interested in learning more about Skyline, make sure you go to the website or come talk to Jonathan or Jenna at a business after hours, apparently. And promise Steve that's not what I'm doing. Thank you both for being here today. I really appreciate it. And thank you, members, for listening. We'll be back here with you soon. In the meantime, go out, connect, engage, and prosper.